Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So, the Democrat Party is trying to start another civil war, another one. All right. And I'm going to take you all the way back to the Revolutionary War because it's the same mentality, the same group that keeps doing this over and over and over again until we learn our lesson and overcome it. All right. So, let's start out with the burning of Atlanta, just so we get in the right frame of mind here.
Much for the Yankees to take. We'll have to make a dash for it before the fire reaches that ammunition.
Not going to be much left for the Yankees to take. All right. So who set the fire? Was it the Union? Of course not. It was the Confederacy, the Democrats. Basically, they wanted to destroy Atlanta so that the Union couldn't have it. The same thing happened all the way up as Sherman's army marched through the South. I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina, and the story was that they had laid out hose for water mains and so forth to fight fires in case, because there had been some shelling that had been going on of the State House. In the State House there in South Carolina, you can see where they had cannonballs hit because they made these X's where the cannonballs hit the State House. I remember that as a little boy growing up. But the story was that the firefighters had laid out hoses to fight fires, and the fires grew in Columbia and burned most of Columbia down as well. And why? Because the Confederate Army came through and bayoneted all of the hoses so that the fires could not be put out. All right. So this is the same mentality we're seeing right now in Minneapolis.
Throw me your shawl. Sorry. You like it better if you don't see anything.
All right. So the Democrats would rather burn it to the ground than giving it up. Right. And this is what we're seeing right now. We're going to see this again in the big cities. I've said this for years, get out of the big cities. So it's coming. So you can stay if you want, but in some of these locales, you're going to see this just like we saw it with the George Floyd riots, guys. It's not going to stop until these criminal Democrats are basically driven from office or held accountable, put behind bars for the rest of their lives and our lives, and are executed. Right. So we're going to have to do this time. Right. All the way from Revolutionary War, Civil War to now. Right. And all in between. All right. So all in between. I'm going to talk about all this in this show, how these Democrats have been basically destroying our country over and over and over and over again. And they've been given a pass. All right. This time we cannot let them survive this. Right. Are you tired of it? I'm tired of it. I've lived lifetimes through this, trying to fix this shit. Right. So let's look at the American Civil War. Why was it caused? All right. The American Civil War, and a lot of people have different opinions about this, but was primarily caused by longstanding tensions over slavery. economic differences between the North and South, and disputes over states' rights versus federal authority, blah, blah, blah. So we're seeing the same thing play out again, like you saw there in Gone with the Wind. There was women, children, blacks, whites, it didn't matter. Everybody's affected by the Democrats, guys. Everybody. Negatively. Always. Always. All right. So let's go deeper. How the Nazis were inspired by Jim Crow. Jim Crow. What is that? Jim Crow laws in the South after the Civil War. Why? Because blacks mostly went with the Republican Party. Hello, Republican Party saved them from the South. So they started the KKK and they started Jim Crow laws in the South to suppress the blacks, right? They couldn't get votes from them. The Republicans are getting votes from them. Sound familiar, right? So, it's something, and that's why they bring in the immigrants, legal immigrants, right? Because a lot of blacks are waking up. They were basically forced into the Democrat Party for most part. You vote Democrat or we're hanging from the trees, right? So that was the KKK, and that's what they got. It's crazy. So the Nazis, they like the Democrat. They like the Democrat attitude about blacks, right? And they used it against Jews. Crazy, right? Hello. I've been talking about this for decades, right? So does it matter? I guess not. All right. I'm not the only one that's been trying to bring this to everybody's attention for hundreds of years, I guess. So come on. We're gonna fix this, or we're gonna continue to repeat it. Right? It's like the person that has the wife beater, right? So she gets beat by her husbands, and she can't figure out why she keeps getting these husbands that beat her. And everybody's like, well, duh, you keep choosing the same type of guy, all right? But she doesn't get it. She keeps getting the same guy over and over again, all right? It's like the Democrat Party. We're getting the same beating over and over and over again. We need to figure it out. It's disgusting. In 1935, Nazi Germany passed two radically discriminatory pieces of legislation inspired by American laws. So you know how the Democrats are always like the Republicans and right-wingers are the Nazis? Negative. The Democrats are. All right. The Reich Citizenship Law and the Law for the Protection of German Blood and German Honor. Together, these were known as the Nuremberg Laws, and they laid the legal groundwork for the persecution of Jewish people during the Holocaust and World War II. When the Nazis set out to legally disenfranchise and discriminate against Jewish citizens, they weren't just coming up with ideas out of thin air. They closely studied the laws of another country, according to James Q. Whitman, author of Hitler's American Model. That country was the United States, and of course, that was the Democrat Party. And of course, the Jim Crow laws of the South. All right. So in particular, Nazis admired the Jim Crow era laws that discriminated against Black Americans and segregated them from white Americans. And they debated whether to introduce similar segregation in Germany. Right? One of the most striking Nazi views was that Jim Crow was a suitable racist program in the United States because American blacks were already oppressed and poor. Wow. So, like I said, I've been saying this for a long time. I know a lot of other people have been saying this. Some people just don't get it. They want to be in denial, right? We can no longer be in denial, or we're going to continue to live this bullshit from these disgusting criminals, these Democrat criminals. Right. All right. Jim Crow laws were state and local laws enacted in the Southern Democrat United States from the late 19th century until the 1960s that enforced racial segregation. They couldn't control them anymore because the North had won and did away with slavery with Abraham Lincoln. Of course, they killed Abraham Lincoln, right? So we know that the guy that killed him was a Democrat, all right? And there was a lot of people that, were part of that within the administration of Abraham Lincoln. So his protected detail, which would eventually be, the guys that protect the presidents, like like we just saw just recently with JFK, and also with our Trump. So these guys have been corrupt for a long time. So it's said that his protective detail, he told them to take the night off. Yeah. Bullshit. All right. So we're going to see, how these guys are basically, destroying America. We're already seeing it right now in Minneapolis. All right. We saw it during the George Floyd riots, and we're going to see it again. We're going to see it again because we haven't learned. We haven't stopped them out. We haven't taken them out of. I said the Democrat Party is going to go away, but I guess it's going to be extreme until that happens. So these laws mandated, Jim Crow laws mandated separate facilities for whites and blacks, leading to significant social and economic disadvantages for the black community. All right, so now the Democrats are the champions of illegal immigrants, that cause massive problems. And why don't they just convince the rest of the public that, hey, vote for us? They can't. And because we're getting wise to their, mail-in ballot fraud. Some places like New Jersey, where there was massive mail-in ballots, again, they elected another Democrat, where the Republican was a favorite. How? Imagine that, right? So, and now we're seeing the governor there, Murphy, they're getting ready to put, because the Democrats did anti-ICE. They're trying to pass anti-ICE laws in New Jersey. And it looks like the outgoing governor, Murphy, is going to sign off on those guys. Again, the Democrats, we can't get rid of them, can we? We better. We better. They're destroying America. They're destroying America. All right. Many blacks turned Republican after the Civil War. Many African Americans aligned with the Republican Party, which supported their rights and freedoms. The Ku Klux Klan, which was devised and created to counter Republican blacks, emerged as a violent group aiming to suppress black voters and intimidate those who supported Republican policies, leading to widespread voter suppression and violence in the South. So again, the Democrats weren't going to win because the blacks were turning to Republicans because that's who gave them, freedom and voting rights and so forth. Of course, the Democrats, almost to a man, voted, because there was no women back then, voted against, civil rights for blacks. They did the same thing with suffrage. That was the voting rights for women. Blacks got voting rights before women in America. And who suppressed that? Who didn't support that? Democrats. But yet we see all of these crazy middle-aged white women that are just doing bonkers for the Democrat Party. Their minds are enslaved. They're enslaved to the Democrat Party, doing stupid, right? So I don't know how it happens, guys, but we got to clean it up. New York, hotbed for all of this Democrat stupidity, of course. One notable Nazi rally. Yes, I said Nazi. Nazis. Remember, Hitler loved the Democrats because they came up with the Jim Crow laws, and he copied the suppression of the Jews and the extermination of the Jews, because that's what the Democrat Party does to blacks, right? So February 20th, 1939, at Madison Square Garden, organized by the German-American Bund, there were 20,000 attendees celebrated Nazi ideology in New York. Right? So I'm going to go back to New York over and over again, because it is a hotbed, just like Minneapolis, for extreme stupidity, right? And it's almost always ruled all the way back to the Revolutionary War by people that do extreme stupidity, right? So I want to show that one, right? So let's look at this other window, all right? Here we go. All right. Now look, images. This is Madison Square Garden filled with Nazis in the streets, right? 1939. I mean, who would support this bullshit, right? Only the Democrats, right? So it's one of those extreme things that we, like I said, we have to look at. We have to understand that we have a party here, the Democrat Party, and I don't know how this is going to go, because a lot of people are brainwashed by the Democrat Party and believe the Democrat Party is just another party, right? No, it is evil, period, right? So I will persist, and I'm not screaming it. I'm just showing you the evidence. Patriots and loyalists in the American Revolution. During the American Revolutionary War, patriots in New York actively opposed loyalists. You're like, that sounds like a very positive name. Who were they? Oh, so many people don't know. The loyalists were on the side of the British, right? So we fought that war against loyalist American citizens and the British, right? Who were trying to tax the hell out of us, like Democrats do. Very, very same bullshit, guys. We have the same bullshit all the way from the Revolutionary War with the Democrat Party. That same mindset all the way down. All right, this conflict often led to violence and intimidation as patriots aimed to suppress loyalist activities and maintain control over their communities. 1775, patriots established committees of observation to monitor and suppress loyalist activities. They weren't successful because New York would burn. New York City, that is. I think the patriots burned them, right? So, and then of course, New York, the British came into New York and they ran, the patriots out of there because they had help with from the loyalists, and the loyalists were probably giving up a lot of information and so forth. There's been this thing for a long time. So loyalist against patriots. So I consider myself a patriot. I don't know. The patriots back then were called terrorists, but now we see the tables have flipped, because now we have the Democrats are the terrorists in our cities. Now the terrorists aren't in the rest of America. You look at any map, the counties of America, they're red. They're basically patriots, all right, throughout all of America, except for these Democrat-run cities. And we're going to get into the Democrat-run cities. So the Patriots gained political power in New York City, in New York, not in New York City, right? New York City, like I said, has always been a problem all the way back to Revolutionary War. Because when the British ran the Patriots out of New York environs, New York City area, that's what it is today, all the forts and everything were conquered. They ran them out. And then it was the Loyalists. The Loyalists, they were there in New York City. They stayed in New York City. All right. So I hope you guys are getting history here. I'm making it as simple as I can. All right. I could go deep into this. I've studied this for decades. Draft riot of 1863. So we'll bounce around a little bit here. So Civil War time frame. New York City, African Americans, again, in the Civil War. Ever heard of a thing called Wall Street? Where did Wall Street come from? Wall Street came from the draft riot of 1863 in New York City. New York City did trade with the Confederates. New York City did trade with the Confederates, and they didn't like to be told not to. And so there was a draft that came in. They resisted the draft, and they had a riot, and they built up a barrier, and they called it, and it was in the area called Wall Street. And the Union Army came in and busted that down and sent those guys packing. Some of them got buried. All right. So this is what we do with the Democrats over and over again. We let them get away with murder, pretty much, and destroying our country. And we allow it to continue over and over and over again, and let them gain power like they have over most of our main cities. So New York City also had a significant role in supporting revolutionary movements that contributed to the fall of the Russian monarchy, particularly through its large immigrant communities, including many Russians. Where were they from? Ukraine, right? Ukraine. So they were very politically active. These groups, along with figures like Leon Trotsky, engaged in socialist, like the Democrat Party now. They just, brought in Mamdani, who is a socialist in New York City. It doesn't end until we end it, guys. So it goes on to talk about the Russian Revolution. It was a lot of New Yorkers supported that with their money. A lot of New Yorkers. All right, so that's obviously a problem. It's obviously a problem. Leon Trotsky in New York City. Trotsky, who was a journalist, and a socialist, of course, came to New York City for at least, I think it was around 10 weeks. Yep, 10 weeks. And spent and headed back to Russia with a lot of money from New Yorkers, Ukrainian New Yorkers, because Leon Trotsky was also a Ukrainian. So he went back and he helped head up the Military Revolutionary Committee, which carried out the overthrow of the monarchy. All right. Who, speaking of monarchies, who was the leading cause of the fall of the Shah? Democrat Jimmy Carter. All right. The Shah went for, Jimmy Carter was constantly bashing. I remember because I was around during that time frame. Jimmy Carter was constantly bashing the Shah. The Shah went for some medical treatments. He left the country and they started the revolution. Right. And they came in and took over our embassy. Our embassy was, the guys at the embassy were there. Somebody corrected me. I said it was 666 days, but it's actually 444, right? Reagan came in and basically told them, you don't let our people go, I'm going to come kick your ass, right? And that's what we see right now with President Trump. So we haven't had, since Reagan, a good president until now, right? And President Trump is destroying the deep state Democrat Party, right? He's destroying it. All right, so If you go to the East Village, I'll share the screen on this puppy, right? If you go to the East Village of New York City, you will see a monument to Soviet leader Stalin. Yes, the East Village Lenin statue is an 18-foot statue of Russian revolutionary Vladimir Lenin. Even in Russia, they do away with Lenin statues, right? So, yeah, there's problems. There's serious problems in these Democrat cities, serious problems, right? And it's got to get fixed. All right. Now, you guys might remember, if you've been around a little while like I have, Soul Train. Now, when I was a kid, I always watched Soul Train because I want to learn how to dance, right? You know, blacks, they know how to dance. And I remember I always danced at parties because I watched Soul Train and I learned how to dance, right? And I got their rhythm, and I got a little bit of black in me, so I did the DNA test, and yes, I'm a white guy, but I got some black in me. All right, so I would dance at parties, and everybody would gather around and watch me dance. But I'm watching the masters, right, on Soul Train. Now, during our current time frame, you know, I feel like we're kind of like jungle rules are going on right now. So I thought I would bring up this one song, A Blast from the Past, from Kool and the Gang. You guys might know where I'm going with this, but let's go.
Join us again featuring Mr. Donald Boyce on the vocals. Let's see if we've got enough steam left to do that jungle boogie with Kool. Get down, 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 get down.
Now, I miss those horns. I don't know about you guys, but I love those horns. The Motown sound, all right? This was back when blacks were basically coming out and really making an impact on, you know, the white community. Like I said, I love to watch Soul Train. I still like to watch it, right? So, but now we're in jungle boogie time, right? It's for real.
Get down, get down, get down, get down, get down, get down, get down.
Don't you feel like screaming like that sometimes at these Democrats? Now, I think back then they were talking about something else, jungle boogie type, but you know, we can kind of like move that around and say, yeah, right now we got some jungle rules going on. It's jungle boogie time, and we're gonna have to clam down, hammer down on these Democrats, guys. It's time. Their time is over, and I think their big blue cities are going to get destroyed. A lot of them, right? Just like we saw with the in Minneapolis. When CNN reporter was out front and says, yeah, there's some burning going on, but it's mostly peaceful demonstration. Right? So there's like flames and buildings are burning, you know, people dying. Yeah, it's out of control. These Dems got to go, man. So, and I'm not talking about all Dems. I'm talking about the Dem leadership. All right, it's got to go. And when the Dem leadership is gone, then the people that they're, I guess, MK Ultraing or something with their mind bullshit stuff, you know, they're going to like, oh, I can't believe I was doing that. What the hell? What the hell was I thinking? Right? Yeah, we try to wake you up. So welcome back to the real life, the real world, dudette. All right. So Motown, 60s Motown, when an independent Detroit, remember that? Detroit was one of the top cities in America at the time. like, I don't know if it got number one, but it was definitely number two at one point. It was rocking. It was a fantastic city. They were building the best cars in the world there. It was an amazing city. So as a new decade dawned, an emerging black middle class had disposable income to spend on records, some of which was refined, smooth, uptown music that record labels began to target. White people began to appreciate R&B and soul, like myself, a new expansive music that had grown out of it. And what do they do to it? What do they do to that beautiful Motown sound? They came in with rap, right? Rap created by the CIA so that they could, change the frequency of the music and cause the black community and some white community types to start to get violent so that they could fill up their jails, right? And make money. It's definitely one of the things that, I brought up for quite some time. And it's been recognized as a real thing. How about that? How decades of Democratic rule ruined some of our finest cities. Now, this is from 2016, so 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And it's not something random Mike came up with. This is from Investors Business Daily. All right. All right. So Detroit is a prime example of what happens to a city after decades of Democratic rule. Urban blight. A few days ago, so remember this is back in 2016, January, February, March timeframe, filmmaker Michael Moore tweeted, Flint has voted for Dems for 84 straight years and wanted to know, what did it get us? Of course, Flint had, and I don't know if they have fixed it yet, but they have a horrible water supply. All right, so Detroit last elected a Republican. Now remember, this is 10 years ago, so it's still screwed up. Last elected a Republican mayor in 1957. It is now the model of urban failure, right? So Jungle Boogie in Detroit, right? It's recognized more for its poverty, crime, rot, and bankruptcy than the great cars that it turned out into the early 1970s. It is the poorest big city in the nation, with almost 40% of the population living below the poverty line. I'm sure it's much higher now. Detroit is also a pit of political corruption. Just in recent years, one mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, was convicted of corruption. Sound familiar? And sent to federal prison for 28 years. Who needs to go to prison in a lot of these Democrat cities? A lot of people. Who? A lot of Democrats. While building inspectors have been indicted on federal felony bribery charges, and the former city council member was investigated in a bribery and kickback scandal. Chicago's last GOP mayor was elected in 1927. The nation's third largest city is home to some of the worst inner city violence imaginable. Still is, 10 years later. More than 2,300 people were shot there last year. Geez, what was it, this last year? Probably like 5,000, who knows? And nearly 400, well, I'll look it up. I brought it up before. It's a higher. And nearly 400 lost their lives to homicides. Its finances are just as grim. Chicago is so broke, IBD contributor Stephen Moore explained months ago, that its bonds are junk status. And Mayor Rahm Emanuel had to go hat in hand last week to the state capitol, right? So this is where Obama came from. St. Louis has been electing Democratic mayors since 1949. The gateway to the West has become the gateway for crime. Law Street says that it's the fourth most dangerous city in the country. Forbes says it's the second. It had the sixth highest poverty rate among big cities in 2014. The last GOP mayor for Philadelphia left office in 1952. A few years later, Moore identified it as a favorite to follow Detroit into bankruptcy, which it has. It is a shithole that's almost as bad as Detroit now. Both Baltimore and Oakland had Republican mayors as late as the 1960s, so they weren't as bad until more recently. And now they're complete disasters. In the era of Democratic rule, both are now more well known for their crime and poverty problems than for their charm and character. Newark, New Jersey hasn't had a GOP mayor in more than a century. It was ranked as the 5th worst city to live in 2015. Detroit, of course, was first. So when Democrats are in control, cities tend to go soft on crime. Reward cronies with public funds. Sounds like things haven't changed, does it? Establish hostile business environments, like in California, where everything is collapsing. Everything is collapsing in California. Heavily tax the most productive citizens. Billionaires are leaving California in droves and set up fat pensions for their union friends. Simply put, theirs is a blue state blueprint for disaster. Have we not learned yet? Shall we continue? Yes. All right. But before we do that, we have to look at other problems, right? So one of those problems, like I've been talking about for a long time, because when I was in the CIA, I remember being in Pakistan, and there was a gentleman that got in the car and said that the cricket games were rigged. And then a few days later, so cricket in Pakistan and most of the Middle East, where the British basically ruled with an iron fist for a long time, so they're driven out. So they love cricket, even though the Brits were, not so well admired. They still love their sports. All right. And cricket is the most boring game in the world, but a lot of people love it. Right. So 3 days later, after I heard that from one of our people that tells us things in CIA, right, they put out in the paper, in the news, that the cricket games were rigged. Did Pakistanis, riot or go into an uproar? They didn't care. They didn't care. Just like you guys that, go to the football games. You don't care. I've been saying for, at least a decade, that the games are rigged. And I showed you how the games are rigged. I've shown you over and over again. And I'm not going to show you anymore because I'm sick of it. All right. You need to wake up. U.S. Attorney David Metcalf told reporters former NCAA players and fixes charged over rigged basketball games, prosecutors say. And this is something that's going on worldwide. All right, so investigation and sprawling betting scheme to rig NCAA and Chinese Basketball Association games has ensnared 26 people. Geez, that's it. Get almost the whole teams and the coaches and everybody else. U.S. Attorney David Metcalf, like I've said, the indictment says many others, including unnamed players, had a role in this game but weren't charged. The indictment is the latest gambling scandal to hit the sports world since 2018. U.S. Supreme Court unleashed a meteoric rise in legal sports betting. So it follows a federal takedown of illegal gambling operations linked to professional basketball. Various charges against 26 defendants, blah, 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 blah. All right. Payments to players typically range from $10,000 to $30,000 per game. I bet in football, they get paid a lot. All right. I bet they get paid a lot to rig those games. You ever look at those guys and say, how did you drop that ball? Wow. It was right in your hands, but you dropped it and your team lost. How about that? So, there's rigging. It's been going on for a long time. But sometimes we have to bring this stuff back up again. Right. So now other things, polar vortex coming. And now a lot of you, I talked about it yesterday. A lot of you had problems with your phones, Verizon, I think there's still some problems. I think it's from the sun. I don't think it's a conspiracy thing. I think the sun is really getting active, and it's going to like crank on our planet, right? So let's watch a little bit of this.
January 14th, around 10:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 2025, 2026. Holy macaroni. Coronal hole 15 is about to face Earth, and that means geomagnetic storm is in the forecast for January 17th. We've also got major snow coming to the west and long-term lies being held by the media. 2025 was the third hottest year ever recorded, but it's actually the lowest recorded temperature on Earth for almost 400 million years.
400 million years. I've been saying this for a decade or more too, that we're in a global minimum that's going to get colder, yet they keep coming out with that BS that it's the hottest ever, right? And they take those temperatures in cities next to pavements and next to, air conditioning coolers that are blowing, the hot air and stuff. And that's where they get their readings. So, I pointed that out for a long time too. But, some people are going to find out the hard way.
How do you like them apples? Buckle up, Buttercup, and keep calm. It's boom time. La Nina is going to be exchanged with El Nino in just the next year as a polar vortex is taking hold. Michiganders better get ready for old-fashioned Michigan winter weather as, well, -0 temperatures are headed to the region. Below zero wind chills in the forecast as frigid temps return for Detroit, and winter storm watches are issued for parts of southern Mich. Holy macaroni. It is winter, folks, as an Arctic blast threatens to unleash bitterly cold air across the east and the south as the next iguana apocalypse approaches. And it's not just Friday that the iguana apocalypse approaches. Take a look at the new models. It is also going to be on Monday. Fun day. So Monday as well will be treacherous for Florida, with temperatures in the southern regions reaching 38 degrees. We're going to have iguanas down for days, if not weeks.
The iguana apocalypse, it's coming, all right? So said it was going to be a cold winter, all right, for for us here in the West. It's like it's up, it's down. I remember when I used to live in San Diego, it would be like, sunny. I'd be on the beach. I'd go to the mountains. It was snowing. I'd go down to the beach. It was like, laying on the beach, laying by the pool, whatever, in the middle of winter. And that's kind of the way it is again. Here in California, we have the temperatures that go up and they go down. We'll probably see some more, snow that's coming. We have a little bit of a break, which I'm glad, because it gets to, clear the snow off. So remember the night deck, it was like 1.5 feet, almost 2 feet of snow out there. Boy, it was tough to get that off. And then it came again, and it was like, I think I cleared like 9 feet of snow over a few day period. So we've got a little bit of a break now. It's melting down a little bit, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get some more, some of those crazy, storms that are going to come in here and fill up these hills with a lot of snow. All right, so 444 right now, so it's angelic number, so that I guess I'm right. Right. They like to tell me, yeah, you're on track. You got it. Good job. All right, so here's a little bit more. The winter's about to shift into high gear for those of you that are in the middle of the country. You're going to get some seriously cold weather, like Mike said, and that would happen this year. Now, the other thing that I said is that this late spring, summer into fall, there's going to be a lot of drought, right? or not necessarily drought, but dry, a lot of dry weather, right? There won't be as much rain, definitely not as much snow, because it's going to get, I think, pretty warm, but not crazy warm like they keep saying. Record-breaking warm temperatures. That's a lie, right? So listen to this one.
Good afternoon, everybody. I got big updates on what's going on, not only with this southern snowstorm coming, what's going on with the temperatures right behind it, because we are literally going to be 40 degrees, maybe even up to 50 degrees below average for a lot of states as we go through our deepest part of our winter. Showing the latest information on the impacts, the chances for minor impacts up to 100% in this red, plus our chances.
All right, so you see all that snow? Remember last year where they said this is a once in a 100-year type thing, where it snows all the way down to the Gulf, and now we're going to have it again. How about that? So yeah, it's going to continue, guys, and it's going to go deeper into Florida as well. So we get the Panhandle getting snow like it did last year. A lot of those beach communities going to get snow and ice like they did last year. So it's going to be something that's going to continue. It's not a one-off.
For moderate impacts going all the way up towards that 40, even that 50% chance in certain areas. We're seeing two different regions now of where we're more likely going to see the moisture meeting up with the cold air. Over here for Alabama going through Georgia. Also another area going through a little bit of South Carolina, but mostly into North Carolina. So let's go through these impacts. Remember, these are minor impacts. These are not major impacts. However, being from the south, an inch of snow would bring major impacts. So please stay off the road. It's going to be about a 12 to a 15-hour period where you could get mixed precipitation and snow on the ground. So be aware. The strongest chance over here now.
All right, so that's coming for this weekend for you guys in the south. All right, southeast. So just be heads up on that. You know, it's tough anywhere to drive when there's snow on the road, but especially in the south. All right, because you don't have front wheel drive. A lot of people don't have 4-wheel drive, and if you got a big old truck, it's probably not 4-wheel drive. And you don't have snow tires, so be careful out there, guys. All right, so just stay off the road. Just hang out during that time frame, right? Hunker down, and enjoy the white stuff as it comes down. And after everything settles down a little bit, maybe you can run out and go to the beach carefully and see the snow all the way on the beach. That's always cool. All right, so New Jersey Democrats pushing 3 asinine anti-ICE bills, right? So it's basically they're pushing the Civil War. We'll see how much traction it gets. All right, so they want to prohibit state and local police from stopping anyone based solely on immigration status, prohibit ICE from operating in jails, so they can't go get the criminals in the jails and deport them because they need those votes. And I don't know. I know that, you get a felony conviction. It used to be if you got a felony conviction, you didn't vote. But some states have overruled that, and most Democrat states have overruled that. Right. So it doesn't matter anymore. So prevents New Jersey from sharing personal data with ICE without a warrant.
Dana, good morning. And emotions are high here in New Jersey after an ICE raid here at this laundromat and surrounding businesses in Morristown on Sunday led to anti-ICE protests and really controversy here locally. New Jersey Democrat Governor Phil Murphy is now weighing whether or not he's going to sign 3 anti-ICE bills that were passed by the Democrat-controlled state legislature. Now, the bills legally prohibit police from stopping anyone based solely on immigration status, prohibits ICE from operating in New Jersey's jails to deport criminals, and prevents New Jersey from sharing personal data with ICE without a warrant. Now, Governor Murphy has until noon Tuesday when his term ends to sign these bills, and he's...
All right. So we're going to see, multiple cities that are going to have problems. We're going to see burning in a lot of these cities. We're going to see riots in a lot of these cities. Now, again, I have on my X account, where this one woman, I guess they were somewhere in Minnesota in the, countryside, and the police, ICE came out and they arrested a criminal alien that was within the community, and everybody cheered. They came into a convenience store and apprehended them. Everybody cheered, right? Now, that's contrary to what you're seeing in the big cities, as you're seeing, right? We have some serious problems with these radical leftists in the big cities, guys. It's like, I don't know, we haven't learned since the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and all the stuff that we've gone through with these Democrats, for, hundreds of years now. So it's coming to a head. It's coming to a head, I believe. And I think it's going to end. I feel very certain the Democrat Party goes bye-bye. So they're not going to go out without a bang, all right? They're going to go out with a bang, all right? So, and that's what they want. That's what they get, in my opinion. So Phil Murphy, and that's what they are getting. Phil Murphy says goodbye to New Jersey. I'm going to leave you with some more effed up stuff before I leave, all right? So he was the guy that, pushed the police to go to that one guy's gym, Patriot, who basically let people continue to work out. And he sent, agents or, law enforcement to shut it down. They get big knockdown dragouts for like months. It was crazy. But it just goes to show you, the Democrats were the ones that really pushed the COVID guys. They pushed it hard on us. And we should remember, and I think a lot of us do, because a lot of people don't like him. His numbers are really low as far as like, let's see if I can find them. Says, where is it? So come on, where are you? So anyway, he has a low approval rating, right? So I can't see the numbers in here because I read through this article and it was like, I thought it was up there in the top, but anyway, low approval. Is this it here? States film, up. Nope. So down in here. So Mikey Sherrill is following him. So he has low approval rating, right? And it is, they did a poll. He's got very low approval rating. What do you guys in New Jersey say? Right? I'm pretty sure I got pretty much the conservatives here. So I'm sure you guys are like, F that guy. All right. So I say F that guy. I didn't even live in New Jersey. I think he's a total POS. But, you guys are going to get another one. You're going to get another one. And more voter fraud, in my opinion, happened in New Jersey with the Democrats. All right. So let's look at Mikey Sherrill. She is a woman. You think that Mikey must be a guy. It sounds like a guy's name, but that's a woman. All right. She goes both ways, I guess. Anyway, New Jersey's race between Jack Ciattarelli, who was a favorite to win, and Mikey Sherrill has officially begun as early mail-in ballots. Now, President Trump is going to pass a law to do away with mail-in ballots, because we know that we're the only country in the world that does them. And we know if you have two brain cells rubbed together, that is full of corruption. Even Jimmy Carter said that mail-in ballots were bad. Even Jimmy Carter. All right. So mail-in ballots were coming in, received across the street. The first absentee ballot report shows 998 requests from Democratic voters, only 173,000 from Republicans. And they had the biggest turnout ever. Sound familiar with all these mail-in ballots in some of these states where, they won against President Trump? Record numbers. There was more voters than there's people in the state in some of these places. All right, so I might be exaggerating, but I've heard that. I don't know. So, yeah, she won with the mail-in ballots. All right, corruption and another Democrat state, New Jersey, very, very bad. All right, I feel for the people of New Jersey because there's a lot of really good people there. I was there for quite a period of time. All right, so we have a lot of other issues that are going on. Minnesota riders break into ICE vehicle locker. Now this was last night. They had a traffic stop where there was a legal Venezuelan, probably a cartel guy, and he ran from the ICE agent, crashed his car and ran. The ICE agent chased him, tackled him, was trying to cuff him, and two people came out of a house with a broom and a ice shovel and started banging on him. So I guess the one guy who was trying to tackle got up. He shot him in the leg because he feared for his life. All these guys attacking him, and that stopped everything. So they all went into the house. Well, I guess probably all lived there, and they brought in a ICE detail, which basically went in and nabbed all these three idiots. And the one guy that was wounded is getting treatment. And I guess the ICE officer was also, hurt. And the both of them are still in the hospital. So the Democrats there in Minneapolis, they blew up. The radicals came in. They started smashing the windows of, ICE vehicles. They pulled out a box that had a rifle and ammunition in it. They broke it open and stole it. They ruined the cars. They smashed them. They spray painted them, and it's out of control there. So President Trump said, "You guys better figure this out real quick, or we're going to do an insurrection act on you guys." Right? So I think he's going to do the insurrection act. Now I've talked about this. I saw this coming like almost 5 years ago, when we had the George Floyd riots. I said, this is the beginning. We're going to have much worse. We're going to have cities that will burn. Big cities, big blue cities will burn in the future. I didn't know how long that would take, but here we are. This is the last holdout of the Democrats, guys, and they're going to do a civil war in their big cities. All right. So it's on. Civil war in the big cities. The Democrats are basically gonna push it. All right. So this is where it's going to kick off. It's going to kick off in Minnesota, the Twin Cities, St. Paul, Minnesota. I don't know how St. Paul's doing over there. I don't know. So it's across the river. Maybe they're doing okay there. Anybody in the chat? No. How you guys are doing over there in St. Paul? So we'll see. We'll find out. It'll probably spread. So let's look at this.
Oh my God.
This guy right here is the guy that stole it. The weapon.
It's a bullet.
That's a 47.
All right. So obviously some problems there. They've gone extreme. We don't have shootings from their side yet, but I think that's coming. We'll see what happens, because I think the Insurrection Act is going to get slammed on that city, and the Insurrection Act will probably get slammed on other cities going forward. All right, it won't be Insurrection Act across the country. It won't be. It's not needed, because 99% of our country is conservative, good morals, good values, and then you go to the big cities, and it's the corruption. Back to the Civil War, back to the Revolutionary War, KKK, no voting rights for women, no voting rights for blacks. All right, part of the funding the communist revolution and the downfall of the not political, but the monarchy in Russia, right? So Democrats suck, right? Suck bad. All right, so let's see what Megyn Kelly has to say. She doesn't have good words as well. So I like to get the feminine side come in and bash too. It's always good.
Here's what the radicals had to say about what they pulled out of the federal vehicle.
One of the ICE agent vehicles got broken into, and I found this paperwork. It has a list with FBI operation info. It's got full names of FBI agents, phone numbers, emails. There's maps on where they're staying, where they're holding immigrants. There's hotel names in there. There's judge names. This paperwork has people's full names and their emails.
And she's showing it all on camera. By the way, they did appear to get the weapons out of the weapons locker. Here it is in SOP 13A. Aided Minnesota and is harassing innocent victims. Those are lies, but he's telling them similar, different kind of fraud, frankly. So he's been all over the cameras. And last night he decided to hold a prime time address where things didn't go exactly as planned when he was speaking live. Check out the audio on this.
The federal government is raining down upon our communities.
What's happening in Minnesota?
2,000 to 3,000 armed agents of the federal government have been deployed to Minnesota.
Don't do justice to the level
Armed,
of chaos,
masked,
and disruption,
undertrained
and
ICE
trauma.
agents
The federal
are going door to door,
raining down upon our
ordering people to point
Oh my
out
God, so
where their
bad.
neighbors of color live.
Agents of the federal government.
They're pulling
have been
over
deployed to
people.
Minnesota.
I don't even know what's
Indiscriminate harm,
happening. That's
including
what,
U.S. citizens.
just for the
Undertrained-
viewers at home, this is what we can get out. This is what we call mixed minus in our ears as anchors, when like you're doing a live hit in the field and you're saying tonight at Andrews Air Force Base, the following, and then like 3 seconds after you say it, you hear in your ear tonight at Andrews Air Force Base, and it's nearly impossible to do. If you ever see a reporter rip the earpiece out of his or her ear, that's what's happening to them. It seems to have happened somehow on the live audio feed, which is a new issue. I've never seen that happen. I don't know what it was, but it was a disaster. They eventually figured it out, and then they posted the proper remarks on YouTube. And when we could finally understand Governor Walz, we heard some of the most inflammatory rhetoric about the feds from a sitting governor since like the Civil War. Take a look.
What's happening in Minnesota right now defies belief. News reports simply don't do justice to the level of chaos.
Since the Civil War. All right. So I'm not the only one onto this, guys.
And disruption and trauma the federal government is raining down upon our communities. 2,000 to 3,000 armed agents of the federal government have been deployed to Minnesota. Armed, masked, undertrained ICE agents are going door to door, ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live. They're pulling over people indiscriminately, including U.S. citizens, and demanding to see their papers. And at grocery stores, at bus stops, even at our schools.
Yeah, it's out of control. I mean, it disgusts me to listen to a moron like that. It disgusts me that he is in a political office. He should have been taken out already. So he's fomenting the Civil War in the community right now. All right, he's stirring them up. He's motivating them. He's talking it. Same thing with Bill and Hillary Clinton, who decided they're above the law and they don't have to testify before Congress. But, we saw several people that went to jail because during the, Biden administration, that were conservatives, that refused to go before Congress because it was all a shit show. And so they went to jail. So are we going to see the president and his lovely wife, Hillary, go to jail? Of course, I think both of them are gone. But anyway, are they going to go to jail? It's if they don't, we got some problems because everybody else has. All right, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Now, they're also calling. Both of those knuckleheads are calling for pretty much a civil war too. They're saying that our government under Trump is evil, and that people need to strike back. Wow. So who's going to strike back? Not the people that live throughout America, 99% of America. It's only going to come from the big cities, guys. That's the only place where these guys have control and rule, because they've dumbed everybody down. They pay everybody back. They bring in the illegal aliens, and that's how they stay in power, the mail-in ballots. So Trump is going to basically do away with mail-in ballots. So they have to fight. They have to like motivate their base to fight us. All right. It's coming. It's coming. We've been talking about this for a while. All right. So Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, he basically invited a high school to come and protest ICE in the Capitol. Let's see what happens when you bring in radical high school students. That went well. So, it's students are being radicalized. We know that. Now they have said that students don't have to come in. They can stay at home. The Democrats love that. Remember how they did that with COVID and our students got dumbed down. All right. So here they are in Minneapolis. They're saying you can study from home because of all of this ICE stuff. It's so bad. So they're basically influencing the next generation too, guys. I don't know what's going to happen with this next generation. It's not good. It's not good. All right. And of course, the Southern Democrats did this for many years. I resisted. All right. So I turned out okay. So, all right. So Trump announces February 1st cutoff of federal funds to sanctuary cities. President says cities shielding illegal aliens will no longer receive taxpayer money. So the funding for these radical leftist Democrats that need to go bye-bye is coming. All right. So in Minneapolis, they've stopped funding for a lot of the programs that the puppets of the Democrat Party, the Somalis were using. All right. And who knows what's going to happen to all those people, right? All that funding being cut off, like I showed, and I think it wasn't the last one, the one before, where President Trump put out basically a graph, a fraction of people are, using welfare and getting, money and benefits and so forth. But it's like almost the entire Somali community is getting paid. And how much does the Somali community work? Nothing, right? So they're stealing from American taxpayers on a massive scale. We're going to see this in a lot of Democrat cities. It's nothing new. Like I just showed you guys, it's been going on for decades and decades and decades, right? But now it's all coming to a head. All right. In Iran, we have the radicals are being shipped in. I guess they found a few Hamas and Hezbollah types, and they brought them in, and they're riding around. I've seen videos of where they're riding around the streets, and they're shooting, the Iranian citizens. And the leadership that's still there, that's not hiding in bunkers, has come out and said that we have people here that are terrorists. So you have millions of people on the street, and all those people are terrorists. Kind of sounds like the Revolutionary War, doesn't it? All right, here in America. So the people of Iran are pushing back. Of course, there's some people very similar to Democrats because the Democrat community basically supported this radical Islamist group. to take charge and control in Iran. All right, Jimmy Carter. Thank you, Jimmy Carter. So the radical Democrats are causing problems around the world, and President Trump is cleaning all that up too. All right, and we can do it. We have the technology, we have the wherewithal, we have the motivated people like myself. All right, that are younger than me now. All right, that are imagine, back during the COVID lie, where they tried to they did press this on the military. They're trying to decimate the military. Fortunately, we had very few people go into the military during this time frame. But now, when President Trump was elected, from that point on, people started going into the military in a massive level. All right, so a lot of those people have only had like a year of training, but we still have a lot of people. We're bringing back the people that got pushed out because they wouldn't get the shot. Good job, because you didn't die from that. All right, so we're having a lot of success, and we'll continue to have success going forward. Now, I know this isn't a popular subject because I can see the numbers. Usually I have like 17 to 2,000 people that are joining me in this time frame. So, that's why, guys that are still listening, that's why we're going to go through these Democrat cities being destroyed, right? Because people don't listen. People don't understand. People don't want to understand, all right? So we're going to go through it. We're going through it, all right? It will happen. So be prepared. Stay away from the big cities. If you're living in the big cities, you got to have an out, guys. You got to have a way to get out, because it could go down quick in some of these big cities, and I think it will. Once a shitstorm starts, remember we heard for years the storm is coming. So this is it, right? And we've been told a lot of times this is it, but I think we all know this is it, right? And in America, just like Juan has talked about for years, we'll go through a near-death experience, right? So this is it. The near-death experience is coming to us from the Democrat Party, right? Courtesy of the Democrat Party, right? And some rhinos, right? All right, guys. It's gonna get shitty out there, but we can work together. Most of America is beautiful. Most of America will continue. The big cities, that's where they are. They're easily surrounded, and we'll go in and basically, blast the hell out of them in there, just like, we see in, I guess the Civil War, where, they burn themselves in Atlanta, and South Carolina, Columbia, and multiple other states, capitals. A lot of state capitals during the Revolutionary War were destroyed by the Democrats, right? So they didn't want the Republicans to have them, right? And they made it so that, Reconstruction took a long time. And during that time frame, they kept voting Democrats in to keep the problems going. And we're still victims of that today. We're still victims of the Democrat Party today. All right. I hope you guys have gotten something out of this. Like I said, there's not a lot. All right. Which is unfortunate, but I understand. The talking points in this are, I know, probably over a lot of people's heads. They don't want to believe, and they're going to find out. FAFO, right? So that's what's coming. All right. All right. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration. Those of us that are in the love vibration, we're going to continue. And on the other side of this, it's going to be a magnificent world and a magnificent America, but not before we take down a lot of the problems once and for all. Right.